Hi, I'm Debbie from Simply Special Crafts, and today we're going to do the Happiness Is kit by Hunkydory Crafts. This is one of those Deco large kits. We're going to get an enormous number of cards from this kit, and I can't wait to show them to you. Let's get started. Today we're going to work on the Happiness Is Designer Deco Large Kit. This is a really, really fun kit because we all define happiness differently. What I liked about this kit is that there's a wide variety of topics available. Everything from a man with his dog to baking in the kitchen to a country cottage, brewing your own beer. I mean, there's just a wide variety of topics available, and there's something here for everybody, and probably everybody on your list that you make cards for. This kit is huge. In the full luxury kit, which we're going to make available, you get 24 sets, 2 each of 12 different designs. Hunkydory says we're going to create 24 supersized cards. I differ. We're going to make way more cards that are not larger than 5 by 7 because you guys have told us that you prefer the smaller ones. So the biggest cards we're going to make are 5 by 7. I do think I have one 6 by 6 in here where I've used the dome, but we're going to keep our cards smaller. We're not going to make those supersized cards. We're going to get way more than 24 cards from our sets. Between this and the accompanying inserts and paper pack, which I really recommend for this one, guys. The papers and inserts are absolutely gorgeous. I'll show you those as we go. In the papers and inserts pack, you get the inserts, but you also get a double-sided lighter weight sheet that has a beautiful, usually one design that kind of complements the papers or repeats that design. Then you get a complementary paper on the back. So I found the papers and inserts to be really, really useful for this one, and I highly recommend them. Let's go ahead and take a look at what else we've used. I did want to say too that we're going to create some half-size kits because you guys have talked to us and said you don't always want to have 2 of everything. So we're going to go through and split a bunch of those packs, and we're going to create some that have 12 sets of toppers, 1 each of 12 designs. In addition to our papers and inserts in our luxury kit, I used 1 dome card. We talked about those in the Cute and Cuddly video. I'm not going to demo that again today, but if you want to know how to construct that, just refer back to the end of the Cute and Cuddly video where I show you that. I used a little bit of mirror board, not a whole lot. I didn't use a lot of supplemental materials. This is often the case with the Deco large kits. I find that I don't have to do an awful lot of embellishment on these to get really nice looking cards. I used some of our beautiful satin ribbon from the store. This is very, very affordably priced, and it is great ribbon. This is the purple, and I used that. And I also used, I don't have my spool here to tell you the exact color, but I used the 3/4 inch kind of wine color here, and that was really beautiful on the masculine card. Of course, then I needed my bow maker from Embellishment Attic. I had to have my trusty finger lift tape, never leave home without that. You need lots of foam squares when you're working on these, and I wanted to mention to you that we have all of the styles of Hunkydory foam squares, whether you like the big ones, the little ones, the micro ones. We have all the Hunkydory ones in 1 and 2 millimeter, but I recently also just brought in some foam squares from another company that makes good quality ones, and now we can offer you also 1.5 millimeter, and we have them clear up to 3 millimeters deep. So if you're working on something that doesn't have a lot of layers and you want to add dimension, those 3 millimeter squares are terrific. I'll link those in the newsletter. If you haven't already signed up for the newsletter, you'll be able to find links to things like what I was just discussing there. There's a newsletter sign up link down in the comments section. Be sure you sign up if you haven't already. That will give you access to our videos, links to all products that we use, and coupon codes, that kind of thing, to give you the best possible deals. Once again, I used the We Are Memory Keepers magnetic board and ruler because I was making those aperture cards. The dome card, I also used my trusty craft knife. Let's go ahead and get started here looking at the actual card designs. Here's the base layer, and remember, if you're buying the big luxury kit, these base layers are going to be cut 2 per sheet, so don't feel like you've been shorted if you don't have 2 of these. Just look and you'll have 2 of them that are connected. Cut them in half and you have both of the ones that you need. So we've got the base layer, we've got this beautiful cardstock background, and of course that means we can create a card here as well. Here's our layering sheet. Here's our insert paper, which just kind of has the same pattern that is highlighted. Now, one thing I love about these inserts, guys, is that this is another one where Hunkydory has printed the full sheet. So the good news here is that not only can we take our insert from here, we'll have enough material here that we can get 1 or 2 more cards out of this sheet of insert paper. And then this, I mentioned to you just a minute ago that I really like the papers and inserts pack for this. This is one side of the papers and inserts, and here's the other. Aren't those beautiful? And I made generous use of these. In fact, in each case, I will have made a card probably using the papers and inserts paper. So let's look for those as we go, and I really recommend those with this kit. Here's our cards. I made 3 from this set. I used that card base for one. I used the side of my cardstock for the other base. I distributed my layering pieces between the 2 cards. My paper from the papers and inserts pack was does not match the other pattern, so it makes an individual card by itself. And I absolutely love this set with the man and his dog. For a truly wonderful friend, with love and best wishes on this tag. This one says happy birthday, but isn't that just a charming scene with the man and his dog? And of course, when we put the insert papers in them, we get a really elegant effect to have that pattern matching. So that's our first set. Next. This next set is called Dancing the Night Away, and it's got these ballroom dancers, and it's absolutely elegant and beautiful. Look at the way the fabric is just floating. It's beautiful. Now, this would be a great card for an anniversary. It'd be a great card for a wedding. It would also be a great card if you happen, as I do, to have a friend who's a ballroom dancer. It would be a great anytime card for her. But it's really, really beautiful, and I think that to celebrate those special couples in your life, this is a great set for that. So we've got our base sheet. Here's our cardstock. As I was showing you, here's our layering piece. Here is our insert sheet. Remember, the inserts and papers are sold separately. Here's that beautiful image once again on the papers and inserts, and on the back we have all that silvery satin fabric pattern. Beautiful. Let's see what we did with it. Here's my first one. I've used my base layer, and you don't have to do a lot to these Deco large kits, guys. I've taken my layers and divided them between 2 cards, and you can see the amount of depth we get from those. They're beautiful, and there was just no reason to put all those layering pieces on 1 card. Instead, we make 2 really beautiful layered cards. Okay, at the top here, I've used my happy anniversary banner across the top. Congratulations on your special day across the bottom. I've made it on a 5x7 card. I think it's beautiful. Next up, here's another 5x7, and I've just cut my cardstock background and layered my pieces up, guys. It's very simple cards, but how beautiful are those? To a wonderful couple, best wishes. This would be a great wedding card or an anniversary card. Here's a third one. This one I've made using the papers and the double-sided paper. I had these corners left over from my base sheet, and so I've kind of created that oval impression by just putting my corners below here and letting those kind of accent and create that oval. And I have used a 5x7 here. I covered it in gold mirror board, And especially for you at the top, it just doesn't get prettier than that, but how simple is that? A little piece of that insert paper on the inside, beautiful. Next up we have the winning goal Deco Large kit. Here's our base sheet. Oops. Here's our layering sheet. Here is our cardstock sheet. Our insert paper. The double-sided sheet. And let's see what we did with those. Here is my cardstock card. I made this one in a European A6, roughly 4x6. And I have just cut my cardstock. It doesn't really match the layering piece, as you can see. So I actually layered this. Oh, wait a minute. That is, yeah, okay. That's my cardstock sheet. Okay. Okay. It doesn't really match the layering pieces because this guy's in a little bit different configuration. So I just used some of the extra accents to pull this into the collection. But I've just taken the cardstock just as it was. I've added this little border piece that says all the best. This one says to the man of the match and goal. But it ended up cute. Next up, here's the two cards that I made using my layering pieces. Here's my base sheet, and this is one of my layering pieces. This is the largest of my layering pieces, and you can see that these have lots and lots of layers even when they're split. So there's plenty of layers in this one, guys, to make two cards and have those cards look full and rich. So we've got celebrate, it's your day, and then happy birthday across the bottom of this one. And this one I have covered my cards, or my 5x7 card with my papers and inserts paper. I chose are these rugby balls? I think these are rugby balls. The rugby balls for the background. Then I've just put that arched card in the middle, added my best wishes and those two corner pieces, and I think they turned out great. We got 3 from this set. This one's called Retail Therapy. And we've got all these pretty pink outfits in the store. Treat yourself to a little retail therapy on our tag, a gift for you, and then matching borders. Here's our layering sheet. Now this one was fun because it doesn't have the image at all, but it had this pretty little bow and I had to make use of that, so I'll show you what I did with that. Here's my insert sheet. My double-sided paper has the pink outfits on one side and this pretty pink stripe on the other. Okay, so both of my cards are 5x7. This one I have used I've used this piece of my border paper up here. And then I've cut my border from the bottom and brought it up so that I have a border at the top and a border at the bottom. And I've added 2 more borders just because I had them available. But I think this is really rich and full. And look at all the layers that we're getting here, guys. Because I'm only making 2 cards, I'm getting lots of layering here. But remember, Hunkydory said we were going to get 1. On this one, I really wanted that bow to show. So I took my magnetic mat and my craft knife and I just cut around the edge, the bottom of my bow to lift those tails up. And then I used a 5x7 card and I slid my topper up under the edges of that bow just to have it show, and I think that turned out pretty. And added my little with lots of love here, and I think it's really cute. That's it, 2 from this one. This one's called the Open Road. Here's my base layer. I love that car. I don't know what it is, but I think it's a fun shaped car. Something different than we have here, but they have these really cute little, can you get in so you can see, really cute little sayings that go with this one. You're not old, you're a classic. And life is a journey, enjoy the ride. And all roads lead home. I just really like them. And then there's a happy birthday over here. I just really like the extra accents they added with this one. So there's my base layer. Here's my cardstock. Interesting because they have this piece over here and then they have this piece over here. Added some interesting creative challenges, but it was fun. Here are my layering pieces. Here is my papers and inserts. My double-sided paper has this wonderful stripe on one side and a car on the other. And here's my insert. Let's see what we did with those. I used the double-sided paper to create my background for this one. I just liked the way it looked on there. And I used my dome card here. If you don't know how to apply this dome, just look back at our Cute and Cuddly video, the last one we did. And at the end of that video, I had a demonstration in applying these domes. I've raised my happy birthday, or birthday wishes, I guess it's called, up on foam tape here. And I've added You're Not Old, You're a Classic Happy Birthday above, and I just think that card is just perfect for a guy. Here's my insert. Next up, here's the other side of my papers and inserts. This one I have taken out of the corner of that double-sided sheet. Taken this here. Now, I could have gone to 5x7 and it would have been absolutely fine to do that. I cut my 5x7 card down to 5x5, and I have some 5.5 by 5.5 inch envelopes that I use here when I do that. I just like the way that this kind of centered in a 5x5, but I absolutely could have made this 5x7. Note the way I've kind of created a circular feel to this topper by using those 4 corners that were left over from my base sheet. And I've put my Life's a Journey, Enjoy the Ride up on some foam squares in front here. Again, great, great masculine card. Here's my final card. I've taken this from the cardstock sheet, and I want to show you what I did with this one. I covered a European A6 card with this cardstock from this side, and then I didn't particularly like the yellow sticking out there. It would have been fine, but I kept looking at this pretty border over here and thinking, I think it might look nicer if I had that grassy green behind there. So I just cut that off, moved it over, and I matched up the two green lines. See the green line coming down here? That's where I layered it right there. I cut this piece off, I layered it right there, then I covered my card and I whacked off all the extra. And this is what I ended up with. And I think they actually match up really, really nicely. You can do it that way or the other way. You know, either way was fine. I like this card a lot. I think it turned out pretty. Now, sometimes when you're making your own layering pieces, stuff comes over the bottom. This was actually a circular topper, as you'll remember, and I had, 1/4 of an inch that came down over the bottom here. I just trimmed that off. But I really like the way that card turned out. So we got 3 cards from this set. All right. Okay, our next set is called A Cozy Cottage. Here's my pretty base sheet. Love that with the dogs out front of the picket fence. It's so pretty. Here's my layering sheet. And you can see that these are big pieces, but we also have quite a few little pieces there. Love this one. Here's again, it's just a slightly enlarged version. And the nice thing about making our own cards is we can cut out the piece that we like the best from that. We could easily make a great big card, but we can also easily make a 5x7 from that. That's what we did. Here's the back, that pretty, pretty pink floral tone. And here's the cardstock for this set. Now you'll notice that there's no image on here. We do have the pretty corner accents, but why is it I always feel just a little bit ripped off when they don't put an image on the cardstock that I can use? I'm not sure. And here's my insert. These are still very pretty, by the way. But we still got 3 cards out of it because we had papers and insert paper. I took this card from right here, And look how pretty that is, just to lift that out. We got all the essentials there. I wanted to show you what I did here. I've added my little button up here that says to a wonderful friend, and to do that I actually used this little throwaway piece right here for my ribbon underneath that. I just clipped myself a couple of 1.5 pieces, notched them out on the bottom, and kind of made my ribbon there because I wanted something a little bit more than just the button in the sky, and I like the way that looks. So we got this one. I took that background cardstock and made my base layers for both of my other 5x7 cards. Here's my base sheet, and I've just used that corner treatment. I did put this on gold mirror board. Wouldn't really have had to, but I did. Covered my 5x7 in gold mirror and then cut this just ever so slightly smaller so that the mirror board would show. I did put foam squares under my base sheet when I put that on, just to add a little extra dimension. I think that's as pretty as can be. Next up, I've used, and here's one without the mirror board, so you can kind of test it and see which you like the best. One's as good as the other, I think. If I really wanted to make them look equal, I would have had to have put my gold mirror board down first, and then I also could have put gold mirror board behind this topper when I put it on. Either way, I think it's beautiful though. And I've just used my largest layering piece for that. And I used in my background here, guys, I wanted some of that blue sky and I didn't have that, so I pulled in some of the sky off of here that wasn't already used to fill out my image and just give it a nice sky in the background. That's why I said that I think the layering or the papers and inserts are particularly important with this one. So I have 3 cards from that set. Okay, our next one up is called A Beautiful Bunch. Here's my base layer. Beautiful flowers, and just so homey. Hope your day is as beautiful as you are. Here's my layering pieces. Lots and lots of pretty flowers in this one, guys. Here's my cardstock. Here's my double-sided paper. And here's my insert. Let's see what we made for that. I have 3 cards. I took the first one from right here. I just like that whole scene, so I just took it and put it on a 4x8 card. I did add a few layering pieces to that because there's so many layering pieces in this one, and the scene was the same, that I was able to get 3 layered cards by using this piece. Next up, this time I took a 5x7 card, I covered it in gold mirror board, and I put my base sheet down on there. This is a piece of this background that I've used for my layer underneath there. Beautiful. And this time I've taken a European A6, and I have taken this is just a piece of this border paper here. And I have built my own images just by using my layering pieces only. I'm not putting them on top of a background piece, but by using a nice complete image. Look how pretty that turned out. Gorgeous. Next up, we have a tasty bake. Here is my base layer with all kinds of sweet baking kind of little sentiment tags. We've got this fun corner on here, plus a complete image down here. We've got lots of layering levels here. And we've got our double-sided paper that has our baking images, plus just this fun little kind of all-occasion print. and our insert paper. Let's see what we made with those. First up, here's my base layer. I've done this on a 5x7 card. I've covered my paper with this background paper. Well, I cut it down slightly so my mirror board would show, of course. And then I've layered on my elements. I put my one in the center. The secret ingredient is always love here. And here it says, if in doubt, bake a cake. And I've put my border strip under that. I think that turned out really, really cute. Lots of nice layers. Next up, I've taken that corner, and when I cut the corner off, I tied a triple bow in this purple satin ribbon, wrapped it around before I added my cardstock to my gold mirror board covered A6 card. I think that looks really pretty. It was a nice way to use that extra space over here, and the bow somehow with a happy birthday and the elements, it just worked together. I thought that was really pretty. Next up, I've used the upper corner on our cardstock and just some of my individual pieces to create a third layered piece. And this one says, have a sweet birthday. I've covered an A6 card in my gold mirror board and just added those layering pieces directly to that. This is not built on a base image, but we got 3 beautiful layered cards from that set. Okay, next up we have a Rugby Match base layer. You know, the rugby ball. I may have called that ball the wrong thing earlier. I think that was soccer, because this one says it's rugby. And it's a lot like our U.S. football, except the ball's not brown. But it looks an awful lot like football with the helmets and the shoes and the ball there. So anyway, call the one wrong first, guys. I never promised to be a sports analyst. So here's my base layer. Here's my background cardstock. Here's my layering pieces. Big layering pieces, you'll note on this one, without a lot of extra layers. Here's my insert paper. I have this nice stripe on one side and solid red with this kind of honeycomb pattern on the other side. Let's see what we did with those. Now this time I only made 2 cards, and the reason for that is they just didn't give me an awful lot of layering pieces because the pieces are so big. So I just made the best of the 2 that I had available. I made them on 5x7 cards. Here's my base layer. I've used my cardstock. And I have brought, because this one's square, I brought the borders from both the top and the bottom down and put my image in the middle. See how I did that? So I just whacked these off and then brought them up. And on this one, I've used my border again. This time I have taken that border, I had a piece of that left, and I brought the border up to the bottom, added the enjoy your day over the seam there, and used my pieces. Now on this one, I did not have this on the supplies list, but I used the same bright cardstock that I used in the Cute and Cuddly to create my skyline here, because I didn't have a complete image, so I just added a piece of that bright blue on the inside. Then I took the same bright blue and I made my insert on the inside of this one. I thought that was really nice. 2 from that set. This one's called the Harbor Side. We've got this very pretty seaside scene with the fishing boats and things are all anchored right here in the little harbor. We've got with love and best wishes on your special day, all the best just for you. We've got lots of nice layering pieces, and we've got happy birthday, have a wonderful day, and bon voyage here. Got this really beautiful cardstock with a huge scene in the center. Insert paper, and this one has the rope on the red background. I love that. And I also love these anchors on this side, so pretty. Let's see what we did with those. I made 2 cards from this set because, once again, the layering pieces were pretty big. And this time, I did something unusual for me, at least. I cut a 4x8 right out of the middle because there was no part of this scene that I wanted to sacrifice. I just thought it was really pretty, so I cut it at the ropes, and I just took my piece right from there. Now, because I did that, I didn't have a big enough piece of my cardstock here, so I used my layering paper, and I covered this one with the anchors on my 5x7, and I pulled my corners in from my base sheet, and I thought that turned out really, really pretty too. Only made 2 cards, but I'm very happy with the way they both turned out. Very, very pretty. This one's called a Nice Tipple. Now, I'm not familiar with that British term, but clearly they're making beer because we have hops and we have grains and we have beer bottles. I love this set, guys. I'm not a beer drinker, but I love this set. Here's my base layer. We got birthday toast, we got cheers, we got beer mug side by side on that little banner. May your day be filled with good times and laughter, and just for you. I love the colors in it. I love that it will make a number of masculine cards, and I can't wait to show you what we got out of this one. Here's my layering piece. It's got it's got big pieces. So normally I'd look at that and think, well, I'm not going to be able to make too much out of that one. But look what they did on the cardstock. They made this extra big image here. I'm going to get 2 cards out of that. And on the double-sided paper, look here, I'm going to get 2 cards out of that too. And there's my insert paper. I'm clearly not going to have enough inserts to insert all of these. But wait till you see what we did with this. I'm just so tickled with it. First, I'll start with my base layer. I put that down on a 5x7. I put gold mirror board behind it. I did have to get very creative with my accents in this one because I made so many cards. Yeah, this does not have an awful lot of layers, but I think it has enough layers. So you can see the layers on the keg. You can see that I've added an extra layer with the grains here. And I think it's enough layers. May your day be filled with good times and laughter. Now see this little border here? Once again, I've cheated, guys. Look here. That border came from one of these pieces. Probably, well, I think it's this one right here. But it could have come from here, where I have one of those double-sided borders, or it could have come from between these two. But I think it's just exactly the accent I wanted at the bottom of that piece. So pretty with the inserts in them. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at the colors. It's great. This is going to be a great masculine card. Next up, I've taken one of these. This is going to be cardstock, I believe. Where's my cardstock piece? Yeah, I've taken this piece right here of cardstock. I put it on a 4x6 card. I've layered that up. And because I am not going all the way over... Oh, I see what I've done. Actually, that's not true. Back up. No, don't actually take that back. Brittany, I'm just taking back my words. I did not take this from here. This is only layering pieces because there's nothing behind them. But look, we got this really beautiful completed scene just by using a layering piece and a couple of extra pieces. It looks like I used 3 pieces in total on this. And then to fill this space off at the side, before I've attached down my cardstock, which I've taken from up here, okay, before I attach my cardstock over the gold mirror board that I've covered my A6 with, I just tied myself a little double bow and wrapped it around there. Bows on a masculine card? Absolutely. In fact, this red I think is really beautiful for a masculine card. Now obviously these could go to a woman who enjoys a glass of beer also, but these are perfect masculine cards too. Okay, next up, I confused myself there for a minute. This one came from right here. What fun, huh? One of the things I love about using the A6 size cards is, remember what we've talked about, that one A6 card is equal to this A4 paper from Europe being cut into quarters. And that allowed me to take this piece and this piece and still have that background piece over here. And I still have another background piece here. I don't know if I used them all, but that's why I was able to get so darn many cards from this set. Isn't that beautiful? Covered my A6 in gold, and then I used my layering pieces. Now I will tell you that on this layering piece, I actually took this piece of cardstock, but I actually cut my layers from here. And I created my own layering piece there. You can see that it's not done with as heavy a paper, but I actually like it because where the foam squares are underneath, it kind of creates almost a domed feel to that, which makes it very realistic for a beer bottle. So that was really fun to get that. Next up, this is the one. Sorry if I confused you. This is the one I got from here. And I cut out my corner, added just a few layering pieces, put that up on a piece of gold mirror board covering an A6 card. It just didn't need anything else, guys. It was beautiful. And I want to show you then how we've made the most of our cardstock here. Look here. This is what I love about using the A6 cards. And I still could have saved a piece of background border here and done something else with it if I wanted. In addition to that, I also did this one from my double-sided paper. Okay? So I've just taken, in this case, it looks like I've used a 5x5 card. I covered it with gold mirror board. And if you don't have 5x5s, we sell the 5.5 by 5.5 envelopes really inexpensively in the store. I'll tag that on the supplies list in case you're interested. Just cut 2 inches off your 5x7 card, and then you've got some 5x5s. And it's a very cost-effective way to make special size cards. I used the little border with the beer bottles here, added just a single bow at the top. I think it's wonderful. And look what we got out of this one set. This is a 3-piece topper set, guys, with the pages and with the papers and inserts. We got 5 cards from one 3-piece set. And we still had this really pretty piece left over that could actually be used with something else sometime. So I love this one. This was a lot of fun. I love to see what I can get and have everything be beautiful. 5 cards from that set called, this one is called A Good Book. Love, love, love this set. This just, I don't know, it just does it for me. The whole idea of leaning against a tree in a park and just enjoying a good book. Doesn't that look like a perfect day? We've got this beautiful base layer. We've got these pretty base layers. Now that's a really nice complete image with the exception of the sky. We'll show you what we did with that. We've got some background pieces here. Once again, we didn't get an image on this background, on this piece of cardstock, but we'll use the backgrounds nicely. And look at the size of that. This almost tempted me. I didn't do it, but we do have some, I believe we still have some A4 size cards in the store, like when you wanted to do, if you wanted to do a great big card. This almost tempted me to make an A4 card out of that. I just thought that would be fun. And then I'd do something about reading, doing get a quote or a piece of poetry or something, print it off and put it in here. I just really wanted to do that. I didn't, because I promised you I was going to keep the cards smaller. But if you don't wait, if you're giving this to somebody special in your life who enjoys a good book, what fun would that be to turn that into a great big huge card? On the back we have just kind of ghosted in colors, soft colors here. Didn't do much with the back, but I do love that front piece. Let's show you what we did with these. Okay. Here is my base layer. I've just taken a piece of my background cardstock, covered a 5x7 card. I brought the image, I brought the corners. I'm using the border that's already there. It just didn't need anything else. I thought it was pretty just like that. My insert. Next, I took that one that I pointed out on the base of the punch-out sheet. I took this image right here, and I added to it a blue sky in the background using that bright cardstock, the same cardstock we used in the Cute and Cuddly. Just to bring myself in a skyline, you could use this blue, or you could use just about any blue. In fact, there probably would have been a piece left from one of the sports scenes we could have inserted in here. But a few of my layers, and then a good friend knows all your best stories. A best friend has lived them with you. Isn't that fun? Mm-hmm. That's a pretty card. And finally, this is all I used of that great big image. Just think how fun that'd be to do a great big card though. But this is what I used. I cut my 5x7 card down to a 5x5. I added between the pages of a book is a lovely place to be. And I just didn't want to do anything else to it. I thought it was pretty charming just like that. I put this up on some foam squares. This is a 5x7 card I've cut down to 5x5. And once again, I'll use my 5.5 by 5.5 envelopes for this. But that's my 3 cards from that set. Okay. This has been the Happiness Is kit from Hunkydory Crafts. And as you've seen, people define happiness in just a wide variety of ways. I define happiness as making this kit and being able to share it with you. Instead of the 12 cards we should have gotten from half, because we only used half of the kit. Instead of the 12 cards they said we were going to get, I presented you with 34 from this kit, plus using the papers and inserts. So this has been a lot of fun for me to be able to see how I could stretch that and make beautiful things and show you some examples. But with this kit and 2 of the papers and the inserts, you could easily get 70 cards from the Happiness Is, or 35 from a half kit and the papers and inserts. This has been a lot of fun. I have really enjoyed making this one for you. If you've enjoyed watching it, please be sure you give me the thumbs up. If you love our videos, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video. If you are not already on our newsletter list, be sure you sign up for our newsletters, because not only will you get links to the videos and all of the products that I use in the videos, our newsletter customers get exclusive offers like coupons and discounts that you otherwise wouldn't know about. So let's sign up for that newsletter if you haven't done it yet. The link for the newsletter sign up is right below this video down in the comments section. I'm Debbie from Simply Special Crafts, and we'll see you next time.